If you find yourself thinking whatever thoughts come into your head, and then thinking that those are the only thoughts that you can think, then you are going to get a lot out of this talk today. We are going to be talking about thinking on purpose and what this means and how this will change how you feel and show up in your life every single day. Stay tuned. I think you are going to blow your own mind when you start to realize how much more say you have over your human experience than you think you do simply by learning how to think on purpose. I can't wait to teach you this stuff today. If you're new here, welcome to our incredible little corner on the internet. Take a second, introduce yourself in the comment section below. If you're back again, always good to have you here. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. The button's about right down there, and then you'll get notified when new videos come out, and it'll be great. We can skip off into the sunset or whatever. Either way, my name is Kristina, and I am a registered clinical therapist, a researcher, a coach, the creator of my membership community, the Shift Society, where we are taking these concepts you are learning here to a deeper level, giving you the step-by-step process to learn how to manage your mind and emotions so you can show up differently, have differently, and live differently. And you're being supported by me and the other shifters, the other Shift Society members, we call shifters, the whole way through. So you can get more information about that in the description below. I help heart-centered humans break through the crap that is holding them back so that they can like themselves and their lives more every day. And learning how to think on purpose is going to be key in helping you like yourself and your life more. Because so often we don't think on purpose. We just let our brains go and do whatever they do, and we just believe whatever they are telling us without actually taking a step back and deciding whether or not we want to think that thought. Contrary to a lot of the teaching out there that says that you can control your thoughts, that you can control your brain, that is not true. At least insofar as how I understand the word control, meaning that you are always the one directing it and it's never going to go off course, and you can stop something from happening before it even starts. The way the human brain works, that's just not true. No matter who you are, where you're at on your journey, your brain is always going to come up with thoughts that are going to be unhelpful or unserving or unproductive or leaving you to feel terrible. It's just going to happen. That's just what human brains do. So we can't control that or stop that from ever happening, but what we can do is decide what we want to do with those thoughts when they do come in there. We can learn how to manage those thoughts when they come in there. And that's what we're going to talk about doing today. So when it comes to the thoughts that come into your mind, have you ever taken a step back and asked yourself, do I want to keep this thought? Do I want to keep thinking this thought? Or do I want to put this thought aside and choose to think a different thought instead? If this thought that my brain is thinking is not healthy, helpful, serving, or productive, why do I keep thinking that? Or why do I at least think that I have to keep thinking that instead of realizing that I can think something else? Now, you might be saying to me, well, Julia, what if this thought is true? Well, I don't know. I don't know if that thought is true. I don't know if that thought is true. I don't know if you even know if that thought is true. And so trying to get clear and asking yourself which is the right thought, which is the true thought, is not necessarily going to get you very far. But what is going to get you further is asking yourself, is this a helpful thought? Not, is this a positive thought? We're not just going for only positive thinking. If a loved one comes to you and said, hey, what you did really, really hurt my feelings or really pissed me off. If you're just like, oh, it's all good. There's no problem. You're just overreacting. It's no big deal. If you're like, just think positive, right? That's not going to be super helpful. It's also not going to be helpful if you go the other direction and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm a terrible, awful, horrible human being because I did something that unintentionally hurt someone's feelings. That's also not going to be helpful. The thought you may want to think that may be more helpful is like, oh, hey, this person has a complaint for me. It sounds like there's an issue. It looks like there's something we need to talk about, get clear on, and work out. That's going to be a helpful thought. So really being able to take a step back and ask yourself, which is going to be a helpful thought in this situation? Which thought is going to lead to an action and an outcome that's going to be more healthy, helpful, serving, productive, whatever that is. That does take some work. That's not always easy. This is why we do this deeper work in the Shift Society, to sort this all out, to get more clarity on this. So if you want more support for that, get more information about the Shift Society in the description below there, like I said before. But really asking yourself, what thought do I want to think? So often we think that whatever thoughts that come into our mind are the thoughts that we need to think because we think that they're our thoughts. But did you know that most of your thoughts are not actually your thoughts? They are thoughts that you have learned to think. Thoughts that you learned to think from what you were told, what you were taught, what you observed, what you absorbed, what you experienced, and how your brain interpreted that and made sense of that. It's almost like, you were born a house. That's an odd mind picture. But let's just say you were born a house. You were born an empty house. And throughout sort of your formative years, that's why they're called your formative years, mostly like your childhood and adolescence, different people in your life came in and started decorating your house. They just put a picture on a wall here, they put a lamp over here, they put this pattern of carpet in this room. And that's just sort of how they decorated your house. And then you become a grown-up and you keep living in this house the way that it was decorated, but have never taken a step back to say, is this even my style? Is this even the color scheme that I want in this house? These people put these things in there, and it never even occurred to me that I didn't have to keep them there, that I could take them down and redecorate my house and create the surroundings that I want for me. This is what it means to think on purpose. What thoughts about yourself, others, life, and the world do you want to think? Other people have placed all those thoughts in there, not intentionally. They weren't, unless you lived with an evil mastermind, they weren't trying to make you think certain things. It's just them living in their existence and teaching you and telling you and informing you about how you're allowed to think and what you're supposed to think and what things mean. And you just picked that up. Or if we're going with our metaphor, they just came in and put those things there and you didn't know that it didn't have to look like this. So what if your thoughts were optional and you could choose the thoughts that you wanted to think? If you understood that your thoughts were just constructions in your brain, they were just constructed ideas, and you could decide whether or not those constructions are healthy, helpful, and serving you, and if not, you can tear them down and rebuild new ones. When something doesn't go your way, you could think, I'm a failure. That is an option. Or you could think, I'm proud of myself for trying, and now I have some information that I'm going to learn from for next time. Both of those are optional thoughts. You could think, I'm broken, I'm flawed, I'm weird, there's something wrong with me. Or you could think, I'm a perfectly imperfect human being on a journey just like everyone else. There is no such thing as perfection. Those are all optional thoughts. You could think any of those thoughts. You could think, I went through some really difficult things in my past, or maybe I did some really not great things in my past. So I am now a prisoner of my past. Or you could think, my past does not define me. I define me. What I think and what I feel and how I show up right now, today, that is what I'm going to choose to define me. All of those are optional thoughts. You could think that person doesn't like me, or that person rejected me, so therefore I'm unlovable. Or you could think my lovability does not depend on every single person loving, accepting, or approving of me. All of those are optional thoughts. You could also think I need to be perfect in order to be good enough. Or you could think perfect doesn't exist. I'm just going to get out of my own way and let me be me. All of those are optional thoughts. You get to decide what thought you want to think. If a thought is leaving you feeling terrible, discouraged, defeated, deflated, then choose a different thought. You might think that no, but Julia, this is true because I believe it, because I feel it, but it's not. A belief is just a thought that you've been thinking for long enough or frequently enough that you have just decided is true. Right? It's just a thought. A belief is just a thought. And you can change those beliefs. You can change those thoughts. You can kind of get in there and wedge them out of there and grind them out of there and then replace them with something that is more sturdy and solid. It sounds, well, maybe it sounds hard. Maybe it sounds simple. For some of you, it's like, this sounds so simple. How do I do it? For some of you, you're like, this sounds really hard. How do I do it? First of all, start just getting aware of the thoughts that are going through your mind in any given circumstance or situation by noticing what you're feeling. And if you're feeling terrible and awful, just getting curious and being like, what am I thinking right now? And then just starting to get curious. What am I thinking right now? And is it possible that there could be another thought that I could think? Not necessarily quite ready to think that other thought just yet, but it is a possibility that I could think about this differently, that I could think about this situation differently. I could think about this person differently. I could think about myself differently. Is that even just a remote possibility? Start there, and then make sure you get on the wait list for the Shift Society if you want to take this further, get deeper with it, and really get in there and learn how to think on purpose and be directing and managing your mind, your thoughts, your feelings, and ultimately your own life. Description or information about the Shift Society is down there. And then also, if you want to work on not attaching so tightly to your thoughts and not just believing all of your thoughts automatically, then get my 10-minute guided mindfulness exercise. So that's going to be great in just helping you be able to just create some space between you and your thoughts instead of just believing whatever thoughts show up in your brain. That's a free one, free 10-minute guided mindfulness exercise. Grab that. Always good to have you here. Would love to hear your thoughts about this talk about your thoughts in the comment section below. Grab the 10-minute guided mindfulness exercise, learn more about the Shift Society, and until next time, take good care.